these five countries to be the cheapest among all European countries because I have been traveling for last couple of years throughout European countries. I'm talking about like the everyday expenses like you're buying food or coffee or grocery and transportation like Uber or public transportation. The main thing is the rent, right? How much is the cost of rent for an apartment like one bedroom, two bedroom? So these are everyday cost or very common cost for living in any city. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Khan and I usually talk about citizenship by investment programs and residency by investment programs, but today I'm going to give you the list of top five cheapest countries in Europe, and this is my personal experience. Your experience might be different, or maybe you have seen another list, but in my personal experience, I have found these five countries to be the cheapest among all European countries because I have been traveling for last couple of years throughout European countries. And so this is the list of five countries, the top ones or my favorite ones for low cost living or for low cost tourism, like whether you travel there or whether you want to live there. So these are the top five countries for me. And I'm talking about like the everyday expenses like you're buying food or coffee or grocery and transportation like Uber or public transportation and stuff like that. And also the main thing is the rent, right? How much is the cost of rent for an apartment like one bedroom, two bedroom? So these are everyday cost or very common cost for living in any city. So let's get started. The first country in this list is Romania. Romania is one of the cheapest countries to live in Europe and also one of the cheapest to travel in Europe. And I have been there two times and I found like almost everything is very cheap there, especially because normally I compare like coffee, I buy coffee from Starbucks and other brands and I basically compare the prices to other countries and also like the burgers, for example, McDonald's prices, KFC prices, and also other foods in the market, and also the grocery items like milk and bananas and like eggs and these things. The public transport is very cheap in Romania, and the ride sharing services are also very cheap. And one of my friend is living there, and he even got an apartment for just 300 euros a month in the city of Bucharest. And I think which is very, very low cost for renting an apartment in European Union. So number one in this list is Romania with a good quality of life and friendly people. The second option in this list is Poland. Poland is a very, very huge country located in the European Union in the Central Europe. And this country is also very cheap when it comes to renting an apartment in big cities like Warsaw and Krakow. So basically, if you live like not in the city center, but around the city, you can find like a one bedroom apartment or a studio apartment for as little as 300 to 400 US dollars or euros. So that is a big advantage for living in the cities in Poland. And then again, the public transport cost was very, very minimum. The food price was very low. Like, for example, if I'm going to buy coffee in Amsterdam or Paris or Germany, it would cost me like $10 or something. And the same thing would cost like 3 to 4 euros Poland. So this is why the food prices are very cheap in Poland and also the transport cost. So this is why Poland is number two in my list. Now the third country I would consider Spain. Spain is also very cheap, not the tourist hotspots like Barcelona and Madrid. But if you go to smaller towns, and I'm talking this especially if you want to live there, so it's cheap for long-term living. It's cheap. Like you can get an apartment for 5 to 600 euros easily in smaller towns. I'm not talking about Barcelona or Madrid, and like the beauty and like the availability of almost everything. So Spain is my favorite number third country in this list. Number fourth is Portugal. I have been to Portugal many times, and right now I'm sitting in Portugal. I have been here like for more than 2 months now. And frankly speaking, Portugal is one of the cheapest, despite the recent increase in rents and recent increase in different prices, because many people came to Portugal to live, and also they received like many visitors. But still, Portugal is one of the cheapest countries in Europe because I got a three-bedroom apartment for 900 euros in the city of Leiria. So basically, if the same three-bedroom apartment, if you want to get in Lisbon or Porto, like the bigger cities, you can still find like for 1,000 to $1,500, you can find an apartment in this range, and this is still cheaper than like 50% cheaper than Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, and all other countries like France, for example. So this is number four in this list. Now, number five will be Serbia. Basically, Serbia should be the first place because Serbia is very cheap country when it comes to like everyday cost for transportation. The transportation is free. The public transportation is free. I was recently to Serbia. I have been there two times before, and this was my third visit to Serbia. But Serbia surprised me because I visited there like 7, 8 years ago, and then 5 years before, and now I again visited Serbia. The public transport is free, almost free. Like I traveled in trams and buses, and it was free. I was surprised, like it was free 8 years ago, and it is still free for the public, whether you are a visitor or an expat or a local. You can use the public transport for free. And this is a big advantage. It will save you a lot of money if you are regularly traveling for business in Serbia. I'm talking about Belgrade, the capital. And then the food price was also very cheap when compared to other European countries. And I think the cost of living combinedly, it is like very affordable in Serbia. Like I found people there who have like apartments for 300 euros, 350 euros, 400 euros. So this was quite a big deal for rents when you see the rent cost is very high in other countries like the Central European countries like Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, France, and even Spain. So this was very surprising. And I thought to share my personal experience about these countries because some of these names might be surprising for you. And I would also request you to share your experience. Which country was the cheapest for you in Europe? And I would also someday share about the most expensive countries in Europe because I have been to these expensive countries many times in the last 4 to 5 years, and I will share that list as well. But right now, you share your cheapest list of European countries where you have visited or you've lived there for quite some time. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I will see you with another video very soon.